Hello, everyone. It's your favorite primate here, Gorilla. Well, I'm still waiting on a couple people to show up for the panel here. They said they'll be a little bit here. Well, I'm getting started there. I don't know if anybody else has, but I've been keeping an eye on the whole Ukraine situation. I know they need our thoughts and prayers right now. But I will say, I'm glad to. Hello, Thomas. Feel free to hop up here if you want. Hey there, John. I just got started. I had to push the stream back here a little bit. But I'll say the Ukraine, you are in my thoughts there. But tonight we're not going to be talking about that. I'm saving that for Sunday. I'll have a big old rant on that going, but I'm pretty sure no one will want to hear my rant on that. But anyhow, tonight we're going to be talking about the Dominion War. There, different aspects of it. I think it would be fun. John, feel free. We could always use your wisdom up here on the panel. And if I don't read your comments right away, it's because there's like a 30-second delay between Streamlabs and YouTube. Go figure. And I got some big furry cat that wants some attention. But, what? Where does everybody want to get started on it? Here, I'll get on my phone here. YouTube, maybe I'll get the comments up here. Oh, John, that beard of yours has a lot of wisdom in it. Oops, wrong one. And that's the wrong stream. I thought I was gonna have Indy here, but he must have had forgotten. But how are you, Thomas and John, doing? But I will say, out of all the ships I've seen during the Dominion War, my favorite had to have been the Defiant class. It was small, maneuverable, but packed a punch. I'm glad you're doing good, John. John, there, I really good video you put out in there. Was that Monday? Yeah. I think you put your videos out on Mondays. And what's Uncharted there, Thomas? I don't think I've heard of that one. One there. Is that a show or a movie or? Because I haven't even seen advertisements for it. There. But also, as I was saying on the Defiant class, it's small, maneuverable, and packs a lot of punch. Unlike the Galaxy class, even though everybody says the Galaxy class has a lot of firepower, I think it's underpowered for the amount of for its size. There and yeah. What about you, John? How did you feel about the Dominion War? But also, I gotta say the Dominion War changed the changed the Alpha and Beta quadrants and the Gamma quadrant forever because the Dominion lost its first war in well, depending on which way you want to listen to, 10,000 years or 2,000 years. Oh, hey there, John! Finally, I got someone I could bounce off of.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. I'm feeling a lot better than I was yesterday.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, well, yesterday I was a lot more down. I don't know if you watched the stream in that, I was a lot more down than I would normally was. But I heard from my friend today. Her and her family did get to the Moldova border, so they got out of there.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, I had someone there. They're telling me that oh, why didn't they stay and fight? I I don't expect a woman to sit there and fight a war or 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 if their family members that are disabled. And Thomas says it's a movie based off a video game. Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg, and Antonio Banderas. I've only heard of Mark Wahlberg. He makes some damn good food at his restaurants, though. I went to the Walla Burgers there. We got one up at the Mall of America. Pretty good food. But I gotta say they have a brilliant system for you waiting there where they take your name and your phone number, then they'll text you telling you your table's ready and you got like 10 minutes to get back to the restaurant before otherwise you lose your table. Tom Holland is Spider Man. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out again. And Banderas has been in a lot of movies. Okay. So John, what's your thoughts on the Dominion War?
Well, there was an arc in DS9 that I enjoyed. I liked that they covered wartime issues, but it didn't become a show where every episode was about the war. They still had quote unquote normal episodes as well.
Yeah. Well, I will say though DS9 did it right versus Discovery where they dropped hints and pieces that something was coming, but they didn't flat out say it. They say it there, but then also they got you so where you cared about the characters, not just launch first episode. All of a sudden, there's a war, and you don't even get to know the characters first.
Yes, I agree. It's not as meaningful if you've just met these characters and you don't really know anything about them. But
Yeah,
yeah, DS9 took 5 seasons to build up the Dominion before the actual war started.
yeah. Which Lord Reloaded had a really good video there where I agree with them. The Federation did start that war. There, they may say, "Oh, the Dominion's bad guys." There, and they made them out to be mustache twirling bad guys. But how many times did the Federation just waltz in their space? They're doing black market trades, even though they've been blacklisted or banned, sanctioned there. And then when they became military allies with, or the Cardassians became part of the Dominion, they mined the wormhole, saying, "Oh, you can't bring your troops into our space." Even though the wormhole was not in Federation space, it's in Bajoran space.
I've seen some of the videos he did about that, although I have a bit of a different perspective. I did a kind of my own perspective on the issue of what basically was the war the Federation's fault. And while I'll say that while, yes, if the Federation had stayed out of the Gamma Quadrant, it may have postponed, when the war started. But ultimately, I think it was going to happen anyway, just because of how the Dominion operated.
Oh, yeah, that is a good point. I might have to go re-look through your videos there. I might have missed that one when I was going through the list of your videos and all that. That there, but what was your favorite ship to come out of the Dominion War?
Well, like you, I am a big fan of the Defiant class.
Yeah, this is the steam runner there. I think that's almost the same thing, isn't it? Kind of close. Or is the steam? Am I think of it? Or is that a lot bigger than I'm thinking it is?
I'm not sure how big it is in comparison to the Defiant. I just know it's one of those classes that he first saw in First Contact.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna look that up here after the stream there. Yeah, Thomas says he hates how much reused footage they used in that. And
Yep.
Professor Brainy Specs, hey, nice to see you in my chat there. You feel free to come up here if you want, Professor. Give us your perspectives. But the USS Franklin, I can see why Jeff likes that one. That
Yep.
that's the one in 2009, wasn't it?
It was in Beyond, but I think he's referring to a Defiant class USS Franklin from The Question of Trek.
Oh, okay, okay. There. And welcome, Captain Trek. I'm glad to see you made it. Maybe the 7:30 postponement wasn't too bad there. And yep, John, you're correct with that one. The Defiant class USS Franklin there. Did you happen to catch our Galaxy? Yeah, you were on the Galaxy class stream there. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts when we were talking about the Galaxy wings?
Oh yeah, I saw most of that stream. I thought there was some interesting stuff there.
Yeah,
Um, Galaxy class, well, it's not my favorite ship. I don't think it's horrible either, like some salty person that we know.
yeah. Well, no, it's I think it's more of an exploration ship than a warship. But they said all like all their little fighter wings around the Galaxy classes. To me, that felt like they made the Galaxy classes more of a target. If they know which ships are the command ships.
Oh, so yeah, I can see how that would be an issue. Although I got the impression that the galaxies they used during the war, and they'd probably beefed up the defenses compared to the Enterprise D.
Yeah, we know they changed their shields and all that because Wayoon was surprised that they couldn't penetrate the shields of Deep Space Nine. But a ship can only take so much punishment before it's destroyed. You know,
Well, that is true, of course.
yeah, and if they know it's the command ship, they're gonna concentrate a lot of power on those on the command ships. Well, Professor, I didn't miss the Valiant there. I just think that what I, that's one of those episodes that there I'm gonna be nitpicking that one. I don't. If you guys want, if we want, we can nitpick that episode tonight, or we can save that for another stream. Because there's a lot of things that I can nitpick on that, especially when they say, "Oh, they've been stuck behind enemy lines for 9 months." When what they took out that Dominion. What did they call those Dominion ships? Those small ones? I can't remember. Or are they just fighter?
Yeah, I think they just call them Gemini fighters or stuff like that.
Yeah, but they destroyed that Jemadar fighter like light years from a starbase. So you're telling me that they're stuck behind enemy lines when they're only a couple light years from a starbase?
Well, I got the impression that during the early part of the war, that yes, they were trapped behind enemy lines, but after that, they could have returned home if they'd wanted to, but they had this hero complex going on, and so they decided just to continue their
Well,
mission.
that's because all the senior officers were killed in that
Yeah.
there. Then had that he had that dumbass of the war, and that's his name. I'm not there wants to play hero there, and he ended up getting his whole crew killed on a suicide mission that had absolutely no effect.
Yeah, they were supposed to just scan the ship and then go home, but they decided to bite off more than they can chew.
Yeah, and that could have been a great weakness that they could have exploited. That when they did that, they basically they thought they had a royal flush, and all they had was a pair of twos when they exposed what could have been a great weakness in the ship in the bigger battles that they could have that the Federation could have exploited in one of the bigger battles. Then that gave the Dominion time to research the problem and find a solution for it.
Well, that's just another example of why you don't put teenagers in charge.
Well, was it really? Well, I didn't even see why Red Squad had to circumnavigate the entire Federation. They're the only ones that got that app that would you call it an opportunity or whatever you'd want to call it. But yeah, and I don't see how they thought he was so charismatic that he got the entire crew to follow along with that. Absolutely no one questioned it. You think someone would have questioned what he was planning on doing? But
Well, I think part of it was they were blinded by their own sense of superiority. They thought since they were Red Squad that they were infallible and unstoppable and all that kind of thing.
oh oh yeah, that's a good point there. But the academy shouldn't have put all that in their head that they were unstoppable. They should have they should they should have taught them because that makes them they get put in their head that they're undefeatable.
Yes, I think that was definitely a bad idea. They have like this like elite group here that given all this special treatment and they got kind of full of themselves.
Yeah, and Thomas said they were behaving like a bunch of Kurogans.
I mean, I can agree with that.
Yeah. So, what was your thoughts on the battle and sacrifice of angels? I know Salty nitpicked that one there.
Yeah, although that's another area where I tend to disagree with him. I think that battle was well done. And another one of the videos I did a while back was looking at basically do the tactics mentioned in the dialogue match up with the visual effects, and I thought they
Yep,
lined up pretty well.
yeah, I seen that one there. That was pretty good there. Like I could see both of your guys' points. Either have one big battle there or separate. Try to race to DS9. But if you split up your forces like that, they're easier to pick off. But also, then the Dominion would have to sit there and pick off your spread out too, and try to pick you guys off. But I don't know. Will the weapons work at warp?
Well, the photon torpedoes at least should be able to work at warp since they also travel faster than light.
Oh, do they travel faster than light?
Yeah, I think the idea is that the photon torpedoes have like a tiny warp engine inside, so they can travel at warp briefly on the way to their target.
Oh, okay, okay. That What about phasers? Because but of course those are particles, not actual light.
Yeah, theoretically, phasers that might be an issue with using those at warp speed. Although I think we've seen it a couple of times. It
Okay.
might be you might well you, if you want to get into a technobabble issue, you might be able to explain that if the two ships are close enough that they're in the same warp bubble, then they could use phasers that way even at warp.
Well, if they're in the same warp bubble, they're going to collide because you got no room for air at those speeds. Then,
Yeah, well, it would be very dangerous, I
but
imagine.
of course, Enterprise changed that with Tucker walking on a rope at warp 5.2 there to get to the Enterprise from the Columbia.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a good scene.
I don't know. How would you feel about having to walk a rope at warp 5.2 there and
Well,
hope they don't screw up?
I wouldn't want to do it, but it was entertaining to watch.
Yeah, it's irritating. And oh, this second is responding to Mercer there. Yeah, but that's where I fall in the line with Threshold. Yeah, it was bad science, but it's kind of entertained, versus some of these other episodes like Move Along Home, Yeah, that's great scenes with Cork and all that, but the when they kept going back and forth between the game and Cork scenes there, the game, the so-called game, kind of ruined it for because it annoyed me so much. Or on the way to Eden, those songs annoyed you so much that all of a sudden it seemed like it wrecked the whole episode for you. Where I didn't get annoyed in Threshold. I'm not defending saying it's a great episode, but I'm not. But I'm saying to me it's not the worst Star Trek episode. I don't fit. You know, that's my defense of it.
Yeah, I don't think Threshold is the worst episode either. But yeah, it's got terrible science, but it's one of those things where you can kind of enjoy it just for how ridiculous it is.
Yeah, kind of like what's that episode where they turned Quark into a woman there? That episode was so ridiculous, but it wasn't. But it was entertaining to watch. They made it so much fun. Or you got Star Trek 4. They wow, he said 3 of the worst in one sentence. Are you talking to me there, Thomas? Hey, did my chat get pinned to the top of the chat about the link?
Yeah, it looks like the StreamYard's link is pinned.
All right. Alrighty, here I'll have to do because Mercer said he can't see it. There, but
we watched Profit and Lace recently on Bird's channel, and that one honestly, I have a hard time watching that one. I don't think it was too well done, but I can see how some people might enjoy it for being ridiculous.
yeah, well, it's so ridiculous is almost good to me, The where in Star Trek 4, where I think it was brilliant and everybody likes it, that they took the stupidest premise, but they made it so fun that it was good. And hey, Simple Jack, I'm glad you could swing by. I hope you're having a good Friday there. There, yeah, but you, but that, they're so stupid in the movie, but it was so, but they made it good and they made it fun, and they that it made it good. And yes, Professor, that is a good episode there. I do like I Mud was a pretty fun one too. And it's Mercer Crate. Oh, whoops. Mercer Destroy now. What did you destroy?
One sec, technical difficulty.
Technical difficulties?
Yes, I think I Mud anyway is a very fun episode. And yes, I like Star Trek 4
Is
as
he
well.
talking about the one where he had the 3 slave girls, or the one with all the androids?
I Mud is the one with the androids.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hey, I'm here.
Yeah, all right.
Hey, Mercer.
Yep. Hey, Mercer. I laughed so hard when they made 500 replicas of his wife.
Yeah.
like he left his home to get away from his wife. Then they made 500 replicas for him. Oh man, that was a good one.
Hey, it was a good game. Jeopardy you set up there yesterday, John.
Well, thank you.
When you did it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel on the buzzers there because I felt like Jay there was a little at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I think that he should mix it up, do a game with the buzzer, and maybe when Jay or Mr. President shows up, maybe do it without the buzzer, like we normally do it.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, because I can see how Mr. President would have a hard time maybe buzzing in. But I know it's a good idea,
Yeah, depending on who's playing, he should switch it up. So I got this book the other day called Obsessed with Star Trek. 2,700 questions with multiple choice answers.
Oh, see, I thought you'd get obsessed with Orville.
If they had it, I'd buy it for sure. But this book I bought it seems to be only up to Enterprise, which is great.
Oh, good.
Well,
They kept to true trick.
yeah, well, it was probably released some time ago,
Though I
and
do.
so if you guys want me to shoot a couple random questions at any time, I can do that
Hey,
with the
maybe one of these.
choices.
Hey, Mercer, maybe one of these nights we'll do a trivia night there, and you can be the questionnaire.
That would be cool.
If anybody be up for that there.
Well, I'm
But
sure I can always go for trivia.
oh yeah, well we could come up with some kind of like point system or something.
Let's see.
But I don't want to copy Jepnerdy, because that'd be like stealing from Vile Mike and Salty there. But maybe come up with some kind of like trivia thing.
What elementary school did Trip Tucker attend? That's just a sample question.
I'm guessing
A.
since there's 3 dozen Cochrane Elementaries there, I'll go with Cochrane Elementary.
Let me see here. I got to turn the page over to read the answer. So 1894 is. Oh, I don't have to flip it over. Oh, I do have to. What do I? Hold on. I need a magnifying glass to read this. 1894 is C, which is not Zephram Cochrane.
Oh, well,
Franklin Roosevelt. Franklin Roosevelt. So I definitely need to get out my magnifying glass in order to do this game. And they used to have an electronic version of it, but I didn't get that. I might order that tonight.
Yeah, Thomas says you're wrong. It's Wade Eden High School.
It probably is.
Yeah.
Dude,
Hey.
you know what they released today? By the way, today is the only day they're selling it. If you go to Funko Pops, you can get a pop figure of Kirk and Spock and the big Wrath of Khan scene behind the glass.
Well, you'll have to mention that one to Salty there.
Yeah, I think today's the only day you can order it. I can get you a link for it. Hold on, let me see if
I gotta save up here because next week, which I won't be streaming on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, because I got told I have to go jump in the lake, so I'm gonna be jumping in the lake.
Okay, wait, who's telling you got to jump in a lake?
Oh, my dad, Papa Gorilla. He told me I have to go jump in the lake next week, so I'm going to jump in the lake.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
It'll be nice and warm, 34 degrees.
That's not warm, but
okay. It's beautiful. It's exhilarating. If you've never done the polar plunge, it's exhilarating. And no, the 60-degree water that the Floridians do does not count as a polar plunge.
Well, it's similar in my history. I used to live in New Jersey. I still live close to New Jersey.
Oh, so you're a Jersey boy?
Yeah. So there used to be a place that you've probably heard of called Action Park. You might have heard of it because they just made a documentary on it. And Action Park was in a theme park, like an amusement park. It was the most dangerous park in history. That's why they made a documentary.
Is that the one where people were going down a water slide and like 6 people died because the rafts kept going off to the side?
That's the one. It's got the tidal wave pool. But anyway, every time you go into the water, they have like lakes that you do the cannonball in. It's like a Tarzan swing. The water is literally just above freezing. And I remember as a kid, man, it takes a lot of guts to do anything there. Especially the water. I just put the link.
Yeah, I'm just glad that this year's it's been cold enough to where they could put the platform out on the middle of the ice there, so you could jump off into the lake from the platform and then walk to shore there. But a couple years ago, it was so warm out that the ice was too thin to put the platform out there, so we had to run from shore out to a buoy and back around. Man, that one sucked. That was the year Prince died, and Fox 9 decided to have all these inflatable purple sacks that were supposed to represent purple rain.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
That one sucked.
Well, what I'm saying, this park, we're talking 34 degrees in the summertime. That's what I'm talking about.
No, that's not so bad because once you get out of the water, you warm right up. Here, it's going to be the water is going to be 34 degrees, and if we're lucky, it might be 35 degrees out air temperature.
Where's Mike, by the way?
Mike,
Yeah.
well, he told me 7:30. That's why I pushed the stream back when I did. But he's getting ready for Jamie to come over for the weekend.
Oh, his girlfriend. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't remember her name, but that's cool.
Yeah, I was talking to him earlier there. I thought he was coming. I don't know what happened to Indy Tiger here. I thought he was good. He said he wanted to do a 6 o'clock stream, but I didn't see him. That's why the title was with Indy Tiger. But he must have had something going on.
Yeah, people
But
do.
I'm glad that
I had
everybody,
to,
Thomas and Jack and hey, Erovic, nice to see you. And John, thank you for coming up on the panel here. So I had someone to bounce off of, and you too, Mercer.
No problem.
Now, Indy, we're talking earlier there with John there. What's your favorite part about the Dominion War?
Real quick, where was Chekhov taken when injured? A. St. Eligas, B. Seattle Grace, C. Cedars Sinai, or D. Mercy Hospital?
Mercy Hospital.
Yep, you're right. Anyway, the Dominion War, they were talking about it today on the Campia show, right? Season 6, they were saying, and I sort of agree and sort of disagree, that season 6 of DS9, where focused on the Dominion War, is the strongest, quote, modern Star Trek season. And when the episodes were good, they were beyond good. They were excellent. Problem with season 6 is that there were also a few duds, including at the time my least favorite episode of Star Trek ever until Discovery came around was in Deep Space Nine season 6, and that would be the Ferengi episode where what happened where Quark has to dress up like a woman. I thought that was a terrible episode.
Yeah,
the only good part, the only good part, the only good part about that episode, the only part I actually laughed is how I don't remember the dialogue, but how dismissive Worf was at the beginning when they hear that Ferenginar might have been taken by the Dominion or something like that. I don't remember the dialogue. That was funny, but everything else in that episode, I couldn't believe I was watching it when it came out. It's the only one I've not rewatched from that series. But yeah, the Dominion War, I thought was great because it really showed that it's one thing to have the utopia, and it's another thing to keep it and keep your integrity intact. And I think in the Pale Moonlight, obviously everybody looks at that one. But what's great about that is that the title is from Batman, and it's from the phrase "You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?" And that's what he's doing. He's dancing with the devil every time he tries to make this little arrangement work out.
Yeah. Where have you ever seen Prelude to Axanar?
Yes, I did. And
Yes,
the guy I was talking about, Robert Burnett, worked on that too. I've seen some actual footage from the real thing as well.
Yeah, I like the speech that Admiral Ramirez made there, especially when he said that he does not fear the Klingon fleet. He fears what must be done to keep preserve what they have, or something like that. I can't remember the exact quote.
Yeah, I liked his speech. I think he's talking about preserving the dream of the Federation.
Yeah, he fears what he has to do without undoing the dream of the Federation. I think that's what it was.
I like the speech that Archer gave at some point during Enterprise when he says, we make mistakes, but the thing about being human is that we get up from those mistakes, and we're going to make plenty of mistakes, but we're going to get up from those mistakes, and that's what being human is all about. I thought that was great.
Well, Ervik says, so let's get talking about where the rest of the Federation was, like the Tellarites and the Andorians. Well, Ervik, you can feel free to hop up here and you can give your perspective in that. Do you feel like, John, they kept the ships kind of mostly segregated there because each planet required different...
Well, the reason they did that, I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead, John. I think I have a reason.
where each planet has different preferences on how their atmospheres and gravity should be.
Yeah, probably just working together. Like they're like the Enterprise being like a cruise ship almost, like a diplomatic vessel. They want to incorporate different species, and in fact, TNG went into detail about how they would get exchange officers. Like those guys, the Benzites, and they did come in and they bring their own model working.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of ships would work more efficiently, especially if they have specific tasks and they're not just generalized ships like the Enterprise, like the Intrepid from the original series, which is all Vulcan. That probably did that because it was a scientific mission, and they probably wanted to stay Vulcan. And same with the ship that the guy that Cisco had a rivalry with. He had an all Vulcan crew as well, and they probably do that just because they have very mission specific ships, and they want to keep crews that are efficient. That's my guess.
Yeah, that might be a good explanation. Since we know, like you said, they did that a couple times with Vulcan ships, so maybe they did the same thing with the Andorians and the Tellarites or the other
Yeah.
species.
Yeah. Well,
But there are certain
also,
ships where they'd integrate them. Like the
Yeah.
Enterprise, they might go for. Yeah.
yeah. And really, did all the species in the Federation really get along, well enough to have multi-species ships? And hey, Carla, good to see ya. Hope you're having a good day. But no, but we know in Enterprise the Andorians and Tellarites did not get along. So would they want to keep those two species kind of separate so that there's no like internal fighting on the ship?
Well, no, I disagree with you there. They seem like they don't get along, and they've had a history of not getting along. But the whole point of the Federation is that eventually, for the most part, those differences are overcome, and they do work together, maybe in spite of their differences. And I'd love to see a crew with both of those races and see how they get along and see how they incorporate their fundamentally different points of view.
Yeah, I'm not saying they can't work together and incorporate each other, but does it mean that they're not still be hard? You wouldn't want to have all your ships having two species that may not get along directly, but they do work together for the better of each species.
Well, interesting to note about that is that in the latest episode of Prodigy, where this is spoilers, I guess, if you haven't seen it, but there's a scene at the end of the latest episode on Admiral Janeway's new ship, and there's both an Andorian and a Tellarite serving together on the bridge.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Okay. But that's one instance, and they might have been able to work out their differences, in that one instance. But I was thinking more generalized.
I think that over the course between Archer's time and Janeway's time, they did work out their differences. Just like in our own history, we've had trouble incorporating minorities, and now it's like we just do it and we get along with them. But I think over the course of whatever it is, like what is it, 100 years, we probably they probably integrated better. I mean, sure they probably don't want to like hang out in the same bunk rooms together, but you know what I mean. They work together. That's the whole point.
Yeah, that's a good point. Set their differences aside over time and that. I'm still trying to figure out if it's supposed to be 150 planets in the Federation or 150 different species, and each species has a bunch of colonies on different planets.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm more interested in that, finding out the number for the Klingon Empire, because that Klingons are not the only race in the Klingon Empire. The Klingons probably took over that one colony at the border, or they were threatening to take it over. You remember the Cryosians?
Is that Enterprise or?
No, this Next Generation, where Picard had to talk to the Klingon governor, and the Klingon governor suspected that the rebels the Picard was in league with the rebels, and he suspected that the Enterprise was beaming weapons down to the rebels.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
got you. I got you.
and the Klingon ambassador even told Picard that we either quell this rebellion or we let it go for a while and then we conquer them later.
Yeah.
So the Klingons have a bunch of planets under their jurisdiction, and it's interesting to me.
Yeah. And Aravik has a good point that a bunch of the species had their own ships outside of the Federation ships. There with because I know we've seen a couple of them in DS9 there where they transferred that one guy to a Vulcan transport ship so he can just kind of disappear.
Did you ever read A Stitch in Time? It's a book. It's one of the only Star Trek novels I'd recommend because I'm not a big fan of reading Star Trek novels.
Oh,
But
I'm a Destiny fan.
this book called A Stitch in Time was written by Andrew Robinson, who played Garrick, and it's all about Garrick. And he wrote it himself so that when you picture him reading it as you're reading it, if you have his voice in your head, then it just makes so much more sense. But the problem is, if you were to get this book on paperback, the minimum you'd have to pay right now is $150. About it's
Hey,
out of print and it's very valuable.
well, I've been keeping an eye on the whenever I go out to Sioux Falls there.
Yeah,
I got a bookstore there. They sell nice Star Trek books there for about $1 a piece.
yeah.
I
So
actually got quite a few books from them.
Yeah, I've read that book before. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Have
it's
you read
really
the
interesting.
Destiny ones, John?
No, I haven't read the Destiny ones.
Oh, those are good. I like the Borg origin stories on that one in Destiny. The they're and it still blames the humans for the Borg.
Well, you know what's interesting? If you read Avatar, which is the first of the DS9 relaunch novels after the series ended, um, there's a little scene because technically Stitch in Time it was not part of the relaunch,
Yeah.
which at the time they were considering canon, but it kind of was because at one point Bashir is on the promenade reading a pad. And they look at it, like his buddies look at it, and it's a letter from Garrick that's hundreds of pages long. He's basically reading A Stitch in Time. So even though the Stitch in Time was written years earlier, they loved it so much that they put it in the canon as
Okay.
actual canon, which
Yeah,
is really
Tom.
cool.
Yeah, and Thomas makes a good point. It says it won't make sense if they only had 150 planets in the UFP is 8,000 cubic light years. That's a lot more than 150 planets. And Aravic also says Starfleet does not necessarily mean Federation and vice versa. And
Well, yeah,
he
because
wants
the
to read
The
quote.
Bajorans were never part of Federation, and yet they had Bajoran officers on the ship.
Well, that was outside the Federation. They got approved by a senior officer and all that stuff there. And I don't think I haven't read Cold Equations. I don't know what that book's about.
Regarding the number of planets, yes, I think the 150 means that's the number of members. Like Earth is one member, but Earth has colonies on Mars or on the Moon, all these different places. So several
Oh,
planets for one member.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense and all that. Yeah, that's what I was kind of leaning towards there. But is the Federation mostly in the Alpha Quadrant, or is it
It's
mostly in
an
the Beta
alpha and
Quadrant? Because I've
beta.
heard two different
It,
things on that.
it's an alpha and beta quadrant, but I think the majority of the territory is in the alpha quadrant. I could be wrong about that,
Okay.
but I know that it's part of both. I know that the Federation is has some territory in the beta quadrant.
Yeah, and I know the Romulans and the Klingons are in the Beta Quadrant there, which I don't understand why they called it the like a war in the Alpha Quadrant when most of the people fighting were from the
I,
Beta Quadrant.
I heard that they were in the alpha quadrant. I guess it depends who I talk to. When I was younger, I always pictured the Federation. If you were to look at the galaxy from above, and I think I'm wrong about this, but this is how I pictured it. If you were to look at the galaxy from above, the Federation would be like a circle, and near the top of the circle would be kind of close to the center of the galaxy. Then the Klingons would be on one side, and the Romulans would be on the other side. But they kind of would almost all three would have a point near the top, near the center of the galaxy. That's where Nimbus 3 would be. That's what I
Okay.
always picture.
I guess that maybe that's the problem with 2D maps in a 3D world. And Cold Equations was by the same author as Destiny. Oh, okay. I'll have to definitely check that out. I might own it too. I got about 100 Star Trek books that I haven't read yet. Actually, I don't even know which ones I have. But John, would be a fun category for Jeopardy too. That'd be a lot of fun. Is name this bad episode.
That's subjective, though. I mean, he's already done some bad episode categories that I love. Like he did "This Silence Has Lease." I love that episode, and a lot of people say
John,
it's
you're
terrible.
sharing a screen here.
Yes, I'm showing you a picture of a map if you wanted to take a look at it.
Okay, there you
This
go.
was This was a map that appeared during the first season of Picard.
Okay, this looks like Star Trek Online map.
Maybe, but this is the one that was in the episode. You see the border between the Alpha and the Beta Quadrant kind of going down the middle with the Federation on both sides.
Okay.
And Earth is supposed to be located like right on the border between the two quadrants.
Okay.
You can see you have the Romulans and the Klingons and the Beta Quadrant on like the right side of the Federation. Then on the other side you have the Cardassians and the Ferengi.
The Ferengi had that many planets?
Apparently so.
Yeah, I thought maybe they'd have like one or two colonies, but I didn't think they'd stretch across what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 quadrant or 12 sectors? What's that one on the bottom? It's kind of hard to read. Maybe if I put my glasses on.
I'm trying to zoom in a little bit. The one on the bottom under the Cardassians says it's the Talarians.
Okay, that's the ones that rigged their ships to explode as soon as someone beeped on them during the war, right?
Sounds familiar, yes.
Yeah, and they lost, like the Federation lost like 200 some Starfleet officers for that. They send out the distress signal. They'd rig the ships to explode as soon as someone beamed aboard.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Okay. Yeah, the one map I seen that had a lot of detail there. They showed the Sheliak Republic. They showed the Ferengi. They showed I think they showed the Gorn, and they showed the Breen and all that. Which I don't understand how the Breen went unpunished during. Or what was the? Did they ever mention like what the punishment for the Breen was for siding with the Dominion?
No, they were probably all just given sanctions at the end.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds about right.
What was Soren using to collapse the stars? Do you remember the name?
It's red matter, I believe it was.
No, Soren, not Nero.
Oh, okay, that was Nero using the red matter. Okay.
I think Soren was using trilithium, if I'm not mistaken.
Trilithium is the correct answer.
Yeah. Oh, you're doing a trivia question.
We should have a speed round. It would be interesting.
Yeah. I still can't believe that they wouldn't lift the ban on was it Therion radiation to use against the Borg?
Yeah.
You know, that's been an effective weapon against the Borg, because I don't know if the Borg could have come up with the defense for that. Are you done with the map there, John?
Sure, you can take it down whenever you want. I just wanted to show it in case anybody had seen it before.
Okay.
It's a cool map. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that was good.
Now, here's a good trivia question. What did Worf crave while under the influence of the Baku planet?
What did he crave?
Yeah,
the blood of a live Tolar beast.
That's exactly the answer, man. You were
Oh, I was
hot.
thinking prune juice. I thought maybe it was
That's
craving
one of the
prune juice.
answers. That's one of the answers C, but John got it.
Yeah.
Well, it helps
But
that I've been through a lot of these movies recently, writing questions about them.
Yeah.
oh yeah. Yeah, so John's our he's our fact checker here.
What was Riker's nickname aboard the Pegasus?
I believe it, if I remember correctly, is Humper.
Nope. Well, I have four options. I have four options for the answers, but I believe John will probably get it before I do that.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't remember this one.
Okay, A is Whiskers. B, Mr. Regulation. C, Jazzman. D, Ensign Babyface.
I'm guessing Babyface.
Yeah, that
They're
sounds about right.
Yeah, that's
let's see.
correct.
Thomas says that map was based on off the star charts there. The book Star Trek star charts.
Oh, here's a good one. What traditional Cardassian morning beverage is served hot?
That'd be I can't remember. Er, Ervik says Night Bird. Is he? Ervik, are you leaving us or? Was
No,
Bird of Prey
Nightbird
in
is
the
a piece of music that
Yeah.
Riker played on the trombone.
And he couldn't get the solo, so he didn't want to play it. So what do you think the answer is? You want me to give the choices? What traditional
Oh,
Cardassian morning beverage is served hot? A.
is it?
Canar. B. Ractigino. C. Fish juice. D. Deca tea.
fish juice?
Yeah, it was fish juice.
Yep.
Yeah, because Rakagino is Klingon, ain't it?
Yeah, but that's what they do when they give these choices. They always give one that's obviously not the answer. But fish juice. This is from Trials and Tribulations, the
Hey,
most expensive episode of Star Trek up to that time, I think.
how is that the most expensive episode?
$3 million, well over pattern, and because of the integration of the crews and building the sets, building the models, which I think they got it.
I thought all that they just took the footage there and spliced them into the image there.
It's very delicate work to do that, though. You can't. We're talking about feature film level technology that they were only just started using in Forrest Gump. It was not easy to actually make it convincing where these people are standing in those spaces. Plus, Greg Jean had to go in and make new models of the station, the Klingon attack cruiser, and the Enterprise. I don't even think he charged for it though. He might have given them a deal just because he wanted to do it. But the footage to actually do the episode and rebuild the sets and also incorporate, because they had to rebuild the sets and then incorporate the footage, and it was not easy to do it. It was a delicate process, and they almost didn't do it because of how delicate it was. So they had a backup script for the episode where instead of going back to Trials and Tribulations, they would have gone back. Instead of going back to the Trouble with Tribbles, they would have gone back to do a little sequel to a Piece of the Action, where they would have gone back to Signyosha and found out that everybody there had become Trekkies. That was one of their alternate ideas. But what happened was somebody took a piece of footage of Kirk on the bridge from some random episode, and there was a guy in a uniform standing near the turbo lift. And they showed this clip to the producer, and the producer was like, I don't notice anything. And he said, well, the guy standing by the turbo lift, he's wearing sneakers. He's one of our guys. And it was so seamless that he was like in a footage clip of an old episode. And once they did this little test, they realized that they could do it, but it would be a little bit more expensive to do the episode because it was not easy, but they could do it.
Okay. Hey there, Indy. Glad
Hey.
to see you made it. You must have been running really late today.
Greetings.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, I was, trying to get a bunch of stuff out because we got deadlines to meet and little time to do it.
Yeah, you're only 2.5
Sorry about
hours
that.
late.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're fine. I pushed the stream back to 7:30 there, and it seemed to be working out here. no one
Okay.
told me they were upset about that. So maybe that worked out better having a 7:30 stream than a 6 o'clock stream.
Are you guys gonna watch movie
Okay.
night over on Salty's channel tonight?
If you
Well,
can find the movie, Mercer, well, I'll
he's not-
watch it.
He's
Oh, I
not
think it's
doing
next
movie.
week. Yeah, that's next week. I'm sorry. I'm totally
Yeah,
sorry.
that's
I thought
why
he was
I'm
doing it.
streaming tonight here.
Nice.
Here, I'll pick
Gotcha.
up the slack from Salty Checker.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a church thing going on,
I forgot. Yeah.
So I
Oh,
thought I'd give everybody a place to hang out if they wanted to.
Hey, I hope his dog feels better. I feel really bad for
They're
his
hoping
dog.
to have her back today, which
Yeah, I
I
hope so.
didn't get an update on that because Salty doesn't use Twitter.
Yeah.
How you doing, Indy?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm disappointed because I didn't get to see Jeopardy live either. So and John used my category, so thanks, John. That was really good.
Which category? Vic? Was Vic you? Which category was yours?
No, the A Night in Sick Bay.
Oh.
Was,
I did really well
suggested
with the Vic
for that.
category.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah, you crushed it, Mercer. Oh my God, you really killed it last night.
That's because he got a buzzer.
Yeah,
He
I
could
think it
buzz
was
in
the
before the
buzzer.
questions read.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think that's what
hey,
it was.
Mercer, Thomas gave us an update here. His dog is home.
Oh, good. I'm
Oh,
so glad.
good.
I'm glad to Prings pulled through there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I got my cat here, and she means everything to me, so I can understand.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever need another cat, just let me know. I'll gladly give you one.
It's up to normal. She likes being the only one here.
Well, the only reason I got the cats is because Marissa said she'd go after me if I ever got rid of her cats, even though she doesn't live here anymore.
Here's a trivia question. How did Amanda Rogers' Q parents die? A, earthquake.
Tornado.
B, Big
Tornado.
Bang.
Yeah, I pulled to you, Mercer. I answered it before you finished.
No, but that's not one of the answers given. I know you're right, but I got to read the answers as given. A, earthquake. B, Big Bang. C, executed by the continuum. Or D, suicide.
They're executed by the
continuum.
Yep.
Yeah, they're executed by a tornado.
Yep.
So,
I got this book here called Obsessed with Star Trek. 2,700 multiple choice questions, and I'm just randomly asking them.
oh, cool.
So Eric wants to know. Oh, sorry.
So I'm also disappointed in Bird for not knowing Dr. Mabenga, and Darren,
I didn't know it either. I
and
pronounced his
Darren
name
for
wrong.
not knowing Dr. Daner.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it's
knew
like,
who it was.
All right.
Yeah, I
knew
thought
who- I
those
knew
two
it
would be
began with an M.
relatively easy.
Yeah, I knew who the guy. I knew it was a guy with an M apostrophe B, but I couldn't place it. That's not coming to me. So I took my best guess. The one I really was glad I finally got because it would have killed me is Tears of the Prophets. I knew it was the last episode of season 6, and I just couldn't get to the title until right at the last second. It was in my mind.
yeah.
Well,
that was a definite
Deep cut.
beat on your part. You beat the snot out of people last night.
Yeah.
Thanks, but like I said, it was probably just because of the buzzer, and just because I happen to know there's a lot of nights or stuff I have no idea about. I don't know Voyager stuff that well. I mean, that's my weakness. I've watched maybe 40 or 50% of it that I would know.
Yeah.
But I'm just not a big Voyager fan. But compared to Discovery, I love Voyager.
Oh yes. Yeah. Voyager has some really good episodes, and Janeway was always a good captain in my mind.
Hey, Indy, I got to fact check you. Her name's not Janeway. It's Insane Way.
Insane.
Did you ever see? Did you ever
But
see the original footage with the French Canadian lady that they originally cast as Janeway?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't pronounce her name, so I didn't even try. But man, what a difference! I had seen as a kid. I had seen Kate Mulgrew in a movie called Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins, which is a great movie.
Yes, I remember
Great
that
movie. And she was she killed it in this little part where she, played an authoritative woman, and she killed it. And
Yeah.
she brought that kind of command presence to Janeway. Her voice is a little weird sometimes, and sometimes her walk, the way she walks, like if you watch Caretaker, the pilot, when she's walking next to Paris as they're on Earth, in the penal colony in
Yeah.
the very beginning, she like walks like she got her hands behind her back and she walks like a duck.
Oh, Mercer, you're just watching her butt.
No, no, no. It's she's walking toward camera.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
she's not like a super attractive lady, but she's not ugly either.
yeah.
And I think if they wrote her consistently, I like her better. I loved Eye of the Needle, where she had this phone call with the Romulan, but she was still in her nightgown, so she brought her femininity to reveal like how much she wanted to talk to him. You know what I mean? And about what her situation was. They should have done more scenes like that.
Yeah. So anyhow, Eric says he loves Janeway here, and he wants to know what Indy thinks about the Dominion War. We were all kind of giving our perspectives here in the beginning, then we got trailed off here. What's your thoughts?
I missed part of the question.
What's your thoughts on the Dominion War?
Oh, so yeah, I've been rewatching it, and a couple of things interesting to me. I started at the end of season 2, um, and a couple of things that have struck me. I just finished like Way of the Warrior, and the ships move like capital ships early on. They're slow moving. The Odyssey just basically stands in place when it gets destroyed, but it's standing in place and firing phasers all over the place, which a capital ship would do. A capital ship doesn't have to move a lot because it's well protected, it's armored and everything, and it's not highly maneuverable compared to, say, like a jet plane or something. So I'm really impressed with that. Like when the Klingons attack the station after they've upgraded the station, and they're moving basically in straight lines. Um, so I think that I like that. I'm with Salty Trekker on the fact that they shouldn't turn these things into like starfighters. So I'm liking that, and then I'm liking the political intrigue of it too, because it's like they're the founders they're just manipulating all these governments so easily. Everybody's so suspicious of the founders, and yet they're still willing to try to fight each other over stupid things like the Kardashian. The Kardashians lose the Obsidian Order, and then the next thing you know, there's a coup on the Kardashian homeworld, and the Klingons are like, "That's the founders; they've taken over, so we're going to attack Cardassia."
Yeah. But I can see with the Obsidian Order falling that all of a sudden the oppressed people, all of a sudden, hey, our overlords are gone. Then all of a
Yeah,
sudden they could do it. But
yeah.
here's something we could discuss. If founders did not move their homeworld there, do you think when they sent that fleet of 20 ships, if that would have prevented the war or set the Jem'Hadar loose on the entire galaxy?
Well, in that case, even if they, let's say, successfully destroyed the founder's homeworld, there's no way you're guaranteeing that every founder was there when they attacked. So if you have any that survive, then yes, they're just going to unleash the Jem'Hadar on the Alpha Quadrants. At least that's my opinion.
But if there's only one or two founders left, do you think they could control the entire Dominion with just one or two founders or a couple founders?
Well, that might
that's
be harder. Go ahead.
That's kind of the beauty of the founders is since they're not well known, and since they have the I'm thinking Vardwar. It's not the Vardwar. It's the Vorta. You could just run the Dominion for a while with just a couple of founders. I think because they've got all this infrastructure around them, and all they got to do is make decisions.
Yeah, well, the female founder ran the Dominion War by herself because there were no other founders to help her. She was working with Wayoon during the last season of Deep Space Nine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Yeah, she was the only founder that they had, and she had to work with Wayoon, and she hated it because she figured in most situations Wayoon would work independently of her direct advice because that's what they're made to do. But since she was the only one, and the war was becoming uh, more desperate, she had to work with him directly.
Eric here says, I don't like the way they dismiss the Dominion War battles as brush fire in the movies, but I guess the Enterprise gets a pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, John, maybe you can enlighten us here.
Speaking of the Enterprise,
How does that affect the Great Link there when a founder dies?
Well, how does it affect the Great Link? Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's painful for them and it affects them a lot. But we have seen a couple of changelings get killed, and obviously they were able to continue on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Odo kills the one guy.
And we know the founders are still around in the 32nd century. We've seen that in Discovery.
Yeah. And the Great Link is interesting too, because at first on first watch through, I'm like, okay, it's just them collectively. But now rewatching it, the Great Link seems to be something more than just the collective um, of the founders themselves. I got that impression the last time watching it this time through.
Okay. Mercer, what's your thoughts?
I think the Vorta very very interesting race. I think the founders would rather not get directly involved if given the option. They just leave it all to the Vorta. And I think, fortunately, as far as the show goes, they gave, they have some of the best actors, guest actors were guys that played Vortas, in particular Jeffrey Combs and Christopher Shea, who played Kevin. And I think it made the Dominion seem like a much more interesting adversary because you have to negotiate with these guys who can't be affected by poison, who can manipulate you, and yet they have the muscle to back them up with the Jem'Hadar. I don't know I forgot what your original question was, but I love the Dominion. I think the Jem'Hadar and the Vorta are some of the most interesting newer creations. I call them newer in Star Trek.
Okay. And Eric says they probably tried to plant at least one founder per quadrant in this galaxy. Well, the thing is, they sent out 300 was it 100 baby changelings throughout the entire galaxy? Because they were
Yeah, I think it
surprised.
was 100.
Yeah, and they're kind of surprised because Odo made it back 300 years before he was supposed to.
Yeah, that was something. So, and what does that tell you? What does that tell you about his longevity? Holy crap!
Well, no, I have a feeling that they don't have to worry about their cells or organs dying, so they're probably very very long lived, because their cells and their organs don't die.
Yeah, that's quite true, I guess.
And
So,
and when they come out of the Great Link, does all the same parts come out every single time? Or is it whatever parts are closest to who's ever coming out of the Great Link? But
Hey, I'm gonna switch to my computer here. Give me a.
Oh.
I'm gonna leave here for a second, and I'll be on my computer in a minute.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Ah. So if you're going to get someone interested in Star Trek, which episode would you suggest to them?
Me?
Yeah, or John?
I you know, I'm in a group called the Penske File, which is they're doing all the Star Trek episodes, and they do podcasts for every episode, and they're going to start Voyager. But one of the things that one of the guys there said was that you have episodes that are really good; they're considered classics, but they're also not typical Star Trek episodes. And then you have others that are classics that work within the framework of Star Trek. And by that I mean also not typical Star Trek episodes. By that I mean like you have City on the Edge of Forever, which is a great episode, but it's not really a Star Trek episode. Like it is, but it's so different. I would show them Darmok. I would show them the Inner Light, and I might show them something like the Ultimate Computer.
Yeah.
Because I think those are not the best episodes, but they're really good.
Yeah.
They saved the best episode.
Code of Honor. That's
I said Code of Honor. I was just about to say that.
No, but seriously, I would show them the Ultimate Computer, Darmok, or Inner Light.
Well, if we're gonna show them if we're gonna show them Code of Honor, though, might as well show them the Naked Now and Threshold and Move Along Home or Way to Eat It. What about you, John?
Well, if I was going to go with like a more action-oriented episode, I'd probably say something like Balance of Terror. But if I want something like more of a dramatic emphasis, I might go with an episode like Duet from DS9.
Okay. Well, I think I'd introduce them to the episode Jemadar, to get them intrigued of what could be coming.
If I were to introduce somebody to it, I would say probably Doomsday Machine or what's the episode where they with fear in Voyager?
Oh, that was
The Thaw.
The Thaw.
That's right. Yeah. That was a hell of an episode in my opinion.
Yeah.
That was one of the best Voyager episodes of all time.
Oh, come on. You didn't like the sexy looking Borg and Scorpion too?
It's interesting that you say that because I was just listening to something the other day about when they introduced Jerry Ryan and Kate Mulgrew gets upset because she's eye candy and she's obvious eye candy, but then so she's mad at the time and she's not happy about this whole situation because it becomes the 7 of 9 show. Yeah. But years later, she's like, yeah, you know what? She's a good actress. She knew she could play her part really well. So give some credit to a little late, but give some credit to Kate Mulgrew for that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Thomas says he doesn't like the Thaw. I don't know why didn't you like the Thaw, Thomas? But anyhow, I didn't like 7 and 9 because I think they more made her out just for the looks, and they had to put her in that tight cat suit to show off her body, when they could have made her look just as good and had a whole better performance because she wasn't having her
I agree. The cat suit was
with the cat suit there, and she made her look just as good,
By the way, speaking of Voyager, an episode that I would show, and also I think it has a really great performance, is Timeless. I can't believe that the same guy that plays Harry Kim was so good in that episode. As the future version of Harry Kim, in Timeless, which is the one where the ship crashes under the ice.
Yep.
Yep.
What a great episode!
Yeah,
It's a
that
good one
was
to
a good.
show.
Yeah, that
He
was a
was
pretty
so
good episode.
good.
It
He was so
was.
good. Way he almost loses. Like I'm surprised. Like I wish they gave him that version of the character was the version of the character that he got to play for the whole series because he killed it. He was so awesome in it. Was this obsessed guy.
Yeah. Ervik likes the hologram episode where the doctor writes a book there, and then they all start fighting for hologram rights in the Alpha Quadrant.
That seemed derivative of Measure of a Man, quite frankly.
Yeah, and Thomas just doesn't find the thaw enjoyable at all. I thought it was all right episode.
I just thought it was really well done, and the fact that Janeway is like, I trust, I've learned to trust my fear.
Oh.
And it's really helpful to have this emotion where everybody else is just freaking out. And then at the end, he's like, I'm afraid. And she says, I know.
Okay. Oh, I got the wrong one, though.
Good.
Yeah, that was. I like how they did the TOS kind of colors in it. But no, I was wrong. It's the one where they created a ship of holograms there, and the doctor goes over and he's going to join that crew of holograms. I think they took over. I think if I'm remembering right, they took over a Herodian ship. Maybe John can fact check me here.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's from the Herodians themselves. The Herodians get holographic technology from Janeway, so they can keep up their hunting culture, and then without losing their entire culture. And then the holograms get too smart for even for the Herodian to hunt, and they become freedom fighters. So
yeah. Well, I still don't see how that wasn't a violation of the Prime Directive giving them the hologram technology.
I don't know. That's a good question.
John, would that be a violation of the Prime Directive? I mean, they did have warp capability, so they could. So they technically weren't a pre-warp civilization, but they gave them technology that they weren't ready for.
Yeah, it's not an issue of the warp civilization, but the Prime Directive has also been applied in other situations, just basically not interfering with the internal affairs of another race. So I think in that regard, it was kind of questionable to give them the technology.
Yeah, but of course, Janeway never broke the Prime Directive. She only bent it a little.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Voyager out there by itself, they have to bend some rules.
Yeah, and yes, Ervik, that was a desperate move by Janeway.
They have to trade something, So to get supplies, they have to give something, And you see it in some episodes where, oh yeah, give us your literature and we'll give you supplies, and give us your, your stories and we'll do this, that sort of thing. So,
but yes, Thomas is correct. They gave the Herodian their holographic technology as part of a ceasefire when the Herodian had captured Voyager. Like, you take the holograms and you leave us alone.
Yeah. But what's interesting is it could be viewed as the same way that a lot of the TOS episodes are viewed. They're dying as a civilization. And the same way that Kirk saves some civilizations from Landru or from Vol, Janeway could be seen as saving a civilization from dying out. by giving
Yeah, but
them.
the holograms turned around and just killed them.
Well, that's the problem with the prime. That's why the prime directive is there in part because you can't foresee the future and how this technology is going to be used or abused
Yeah.
or how it's going to bite them in the ass.
Well, and here's a good question, though. Though here I'd like people's opinions on it. If a civilization is guaranteed to die, like when that one planet was getting ripped apart there, would it be good to void out the prime directive there to save that species from complete extinction, or do you let the species die?
Are you talking about the Pen Pals episode
Well,
in
there's
TNG?
there's multiple episodes where the entire civilization was going to die.
Yeah, like the Valaki and the Mank. Dear Doctor.
That was a completely different situation there. That was before the prime directive, because the species was going to live on. Just one was dying, and the other was going to take over as the primary species.
See, we don't know that though, do we? Because
The doctor explained it.
well, the doctor might have explained it, but think about this: the Valaki had their moment of decision, their prime directive moment, and they chose to help the Mank. And the Mank may not be able to survive without them. That's a situation that needs to be studied in detail because if the Valaki die out, there's no guarantee that the Mank will survive.
Yeah. We're talking the Enterprise episode, right?
Yeah, we're talking about Dear Doctor, Dr. Phlox. Yeah. We don't know how much dependency the Mank have or how much or how good the Mank are at self-sufficiency. And that's a situation where that should have been studied. They had 200 years. The Federation had 200 years, I think, is what Phlox said before the Valaki die out. What if the Valaki are integral to the survival of both of themselves and the Mank?
Well, I heard a good theory though that they did find that they were able to find a cure, but it messed them up so bad then they became the Breen, and that's why they have to wear those suits. I've heard that theory. They were genetically altered them so bad that they had to wear those suits, and they became the Breen. What's your thoughts, John?
Well, personally, I don't think it's right to let a species just go extinct if you have the ability to help them. I think that's a different situation than if you just don't want to interfere with their natural development, like with introducing advanced technology to a pre-warp species. And I think, for example, in Dear Doctor, Phlox was making a lot of assumptions that they're then basing their policies on, but for all we know, Phlox could have been dead wrong. He's trying to extrapolate things out, like what's going to happen like centuries in the future, but you can never predict that kind of thing with certainty.
So you think if the species is again guaranteed to die, that's not then that doesn't apply to the prime directive doesn't apply.
Pretty much, yes. The same thing with pen pals; their entire civilization would be wiped out. So you're just going to stand by and do nothing, even though you have the ability to help. Yeah. Well, I don't think that's what the prime directive was meant for, at least originally.
Yeah, and Thomas thinks you think that Archer should have nuked the planet.
Only way to be sure.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on that, Mercer?
On Dear Doctor?
Or does a prime directive apply if the entire species is going to go extinct unless they interfere?
Well, when I think about it, I think it's I love questions that are tough to answer. One of the things that every time I think about the prime directive, I think about what Picard, although this wasn't a prime directive exactly situation, but it was the same kind of thing. One of the things that Picard said about the prime directive in the second season of TNG was that one of the functions of the Prime Directive has nothing to do with the various races that they meet up with. It's there to protect the crew because it gives the crew this kind of both moral and procedural way out that they don't have the response, they don't have to worry about the burden of responsibility of thinking about what could happen. That's way too much for a crew in the moment that they're orbiting whatever planet to think about, permutations of their decisions. By saying you're just don't interfere at all, they're basically taking any average crew out of the equation altogether, and it kind of like removes the idea that you have to second guess, should we do it or should we not do it. He mentioned this in a Pen Pals episode, and I think on that basis, I would have to say Phlox was right that we just let, he said it to Archer at the end, we let evolution decide what happens as if we were never there. And I think that kind of goes along with the policy, and I kind of like the fact that he got there with that, with what he said. So
Yeah, that's a good point. It's the ship is there in the moment, absolutely. So they don't have all the facts, and that's what I was alluding to earlier, talking about Dear Doctor. It's like they have plenty of time. The Federation has plenty of time to study the situation in detail before they make a decision.
yeah,
They
the
already
crew,
have a
the crew
solution.
shouldn't be responsible for a decision like that in that particular moment that they're up there.
Yeah,
Maybe that's something they should have gone back. They should have radioed back to Starfleet headquarters there and have the Starfleet make a complete decision. But that's a tough one to answer. Yes, they got 200 years before, and the species will die out if they don't interfere. But would that affect? How would that affect the other species? Especially if Phlox was right that they could evolve on their own and become the dominant species that can survive and thrive. That's a very hard question to answer right there,
yeah.
and it's one I don't know if really is a good answer.
It's an impossible question to answer in the moment.
Yeah.
I just really I think the whole point of the Prime Directive is, in general, uh, a particular crew and a particular captain, they can't make that call, and they should be free from the burden of having to make that call. It's just too much. And I think that's, if you watch that speech in Pen Pals, which is not a great episode, but it's got that great speech in it. I think that's what Picard is saying. It protects them more than anything else.
Yeah.
It'd be like me deciding that I don't like Pepsi, but me deciding that what the future of the Pepsi Corporation is. That's a bad analogy, but you know what I mean. It's like it removes me from the decision that is far beyond what I could possibly anticipate.
Yeah.
In general, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, in
And
general, I agree with the Prime Directive. However, I think if there's a situation where you're there and the civilization's destruction is imminent, like it's going to happen any time now, which was the situation in Pen Pals or in that later episode with Worf's brother, and you don't really have time to go back and debate it with the Federation what we're going to do. I think if the ship is there and they have the ability to save somebody, they should do whatever they can.
yep. And
But
Thomas
we're talking
says,
about decisions that would affect the future in future generations. Like if you meet up with somebody that's injured, maybe help them. But if you're talking about saving a race that would have maybe died out, and another race could have maybe taken, that's way more than just an immediate need situation.
okay. And Thomas Potts says at the time, Earth didn't have the resources to help them. Most likely they will have asked the Vulcans, so the Vulcans would have told them, let them die.
Possibly, but Earth
The
can.
Vulcans, I don't think, would have helped.
They might not have, but I think that it just bears studying. It bears getting to know all the permutations possible because you have the time. John's right. If it's an imminent threat, then save some people. I mean, we know the preservers do it in the Star Trek universe. So,
Yeah. What, Eric? What are we excusing?
excuse me,
Yeah.
Eric? Excuse me.
I don't know. Did one of us fart or something?
Yes, one of us farted. Archer did tell the woman in Civilization the Vulcans would look on their planet from time to time. That's something. That's something too. Kirk, Kirk is getting a bad rap a little bit these days too, where he doesn't check in. He doesn't have anybody check in. Well, there's a lot of times where he's like, yeah, we're going, we leave some people behind and they're going to be relieved by other people that are coming. And, in several episodes, it's like, the apple, Miri, a piece of the action. The people are coming back. People are checking in, and people are going to help.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, and Eric says, that the Vulcans wouldn't help. T'Pol and Spock helped.
Yeah, but they're above average Vulcans.
Yeah.
And the era in which the Vulcans are, the era that we're talking about, those Vulcans might not want to help. That first of all, they were being manipulated by the Romulans, and that the Romulans aren't out to help anybody necessarily, anybody except themselves. At least in that era, I do think that the Romulans have a sense of duty more than what is seen in the later iterations of Trek, but in TOS, they talk about duty quite a bit in the few episodes that you actually get some interaction with them. And I think that they're probably, this is just my headcanon, I think that they probably were the Vulcan military. And that's where they get their sense of duty from. And when the Vulcans turned to pacifism and non-interference, there was no more need for the Vulcan military. But the Vulcan military couldn't just turn around and become ordinary citizens again. I think that's at least some of them had to leave Vulcan to pursue their own destiny.
Yeah. Okay, then.
Is it time for another colorful metaphor?
Yeah, Gary, you guys entertain the chat there. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Who became Grand Nagus after Zek retired?
Who became Grand Nagus after Zek retired?
Well, that was Rom, right?
Rom did, but
That would be
Quark
correct.
was Grand Nagus for a bit. But that was just a bruise.
Yeah, that was but he actually was. He didn't actually retire, and he wasn't actually dead. I always wondered who they were selling in that scene where they were trying to sell off pieces of Zek because he didn't actually die. I love that episode.
Yeah.
Like so much. I love early Deep Space Nine. I love it.
Yeah.
And Indy, you apparently are a Vulcan now because you are most logical.
Am I?
Yep.
Okay.
According to Aravic there.
Yeah, I see that. Thanks, Aravic. I appreciate that.
Oh, here's another good question. If you could be any species, which species would you be?
Oh, hands down, I'd be an Andorian
Andorian?
or a Romulan.
Well, you like the cold?
No, I actually don't like the cold. Not anymore. I used to
I'll tell
like
you
it.
what species I
Oh, you
want
want
to
to be
be.
an Andorian on a frozen waste world, but you don't like the cold.
Well, I just admire Commander Shran so goddamn much.
You know what? I'm going to cheat on this one. I don't know what the name of the species is. Uh, they might not have a name for it. I want to be the same species as Yaphet from the Orville. He's the blob,
Oh
booger
yeah.
snot looking character.
Yep.
That's definitely what I want to be. I don't know what his species is called, but there you go. That's what I want to be.
Okay.
I just love the see for me the Orville is just like watching more Star Trek. It's just got a slightly different, slightly very similar take, but I consider it more Star Trek than Discovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's why the remits were ignored too. Indy, Hervik says.
Yeah, that's possibly true. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, John? What species would you be?
Well, depending on the form of government at the time, I may not necessarily enjoy living under their rule, but I've always found the Cardassians to be very interesting. I think they're very complicated characters, so that might be one
Okay.
I would go with.
Yeah. And I got told the perfect place for me would be on Risa, so I'd be a Risian.
Okay. All right. Let's see. What else would I? Okay. What about what godlike race would you want to be?
Well, it depends. How many? Let's see. There's the Organians, the
Mm-hmm.
Prophet, Q.
Mm-hmm.
Do we call what's his name from the original series? Is he part of the Q, or do you guys go with that theory?
Yeah, I'd go with
Yeah,
that.
Train.
Tremaine is it's easy that way. I mean, he could be something else, but it makes no difference.
He's got some godlike powers, but I don't think he's part of the Q.
He he's the run to
It's a
Q.
retcon. It's
He's
a
the run to the
retcon.
litter. Tulane was the run to the litter. So let's see. There's the Organians, Q, the Prophets. Were there any other ones?
Yeah, there's a few other ones. There's the Metrons,
Metrons. Which one? Which episode was that?
Arena, where
Oh, okay, okay,
Kirk
okay,
fights the Gorn. There's
okay.
them. Um, let's see, what other? The Traveler
Well,
from
would he be considered godlike?
TNG. Yeah, he has some. He has some. He has some. He has some abilities in that sense. Yeah, along those lines.
Yeah.
From TNG, you could also include the Dowd, which was
Yeah,
the
the
species from
Dow.
the Survivors.
Yeah.
The Survivors. Which episode was the Survivors?
Oh my God, that's my favorite TNG episode.
Which one is that again?
The Enterprise comes up to this planet where there used to be a colony, and they find that the place is barren. The entire planet is decimated except for this one small patch
I got you. I remember that one now.
where these two old people live. That is the most TOS. That is the most Star Trek episode of TNG there is, in my opinion, because you've got a mystery, you've got an alien being with these godlike powers that is manipulating the crew. They have to solve the mystery. You've got at the end, you've got this being is revealed to have destroyed an entire species.
Yeah, and he has to bear the guilt of it. But I think the most interesting thing about the episode is that you get to see Picard really trust his instincts. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to get that out before I forgot. He really trusts his instincts as a captain.
Yeah. And then Worf.
Yeah.
I love Worf in that episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice house.
Yeah, we'll answer your question
The best part was
next there. But were the Q actually godlike, or do you think they had really advanced technology?
No, real
Oh.
quick about Worf, that line was great, but I also love the fact that when the ship came back and it was stronger than ever, and then they look at him like, didn't you have all your sensors ready to find anything that would come along? Like nothing should take them by surprise. And he's like, I can't explain what happened.
Yeah.
That was great. It was a great little moment. And Picard realizes that it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay.
I think that line, though,
because I could actually
team,
have a
nice
human
house.
form, though. I don't want to be
sorry.
cute, so I could have a human form.
Real quick, that line, good tea, nice house. I think that line was the inspiration for the character of Bortus because they have a Worf-like character who just makes the lines. You know, it's just a source of humor. Every episode, you just have a straight line like that. You know.
Oh yeah.
I think that's where Bortus came from. Was that scene right there? Sorry, I just had to mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Bortus is very Klingon like.
It was just very Worf-like when Worf is asked to
yeah,
deliver these straight lines that are funny. That's what Worf. That's what Bortus is. Is that Worf, the funny Worf? You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
John, what
And
species
Seth
would
knows
you
it. Seth knew it. He knew that would be a great source of comedy, and he just said, "Screw it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make Bortus." Which, by the way, Bortus' name is the name of the ship that Worf served on during the Civil War. Bortus.
Yeah. Let's see. What are you saying? What are you saying here, Eric? Which side of the Dominion War would you side with? The Federation. That's a knee-jerk response.
Yeah. Well, I feel the Federation was kind of like the way the Ukrainians are now. They're the underdogs, but they came out on top. I really think the Ukrainians are putting up a hell of a fight over there. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. Oh, and Mercer Arovic wants you to know he's pretty buzzed.
Oh, nice. So, I might start getting there soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't started drinking yet.
Yeah, I'm not drinking tonight.
I might have to get drunk before my stream on Sunday there, but it's a topic I can't. I want to have a nice long discussion on.
Really?
I might get a little heated in it.
Okay. What's the topic?
I'll be discussing the Ukraine situation.
Okay.
With Russia.
Yeah,
I wanted to give a heads up to people because I know that's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I don't know if I'll have anybody in the chat, but I know Mike Shriver wanted to discuss that too. So, but it's one of those. It's kind of a touchy subject, you know, and I didn't want to get into it on this stream, you know, because I said we'd talk about the Dominion War.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so late to this.
No, you're
when I was watching Deep Space Nine.
Fine. I think the 7:30 might have worked out a little bit better there because I know John was busy, Mercer was busy, you were busy, you know. If I known I was going to set it back to 7:30, I'll ran to Iowa real quick.
Yeah. When Deep Space Nine was running in the last couple of seasons, I remember having a dream that seemed so real, where I was watching news coverage of a war on TV, but it was the Dominion War.
Okay.
It was like just a regular news report, but it was the Dominion War. Like the Cardassians have just taken over this planet, or the Bajors are making a deal, or whatever. It felt so real.
Wow, that's amazing.
I'll never forget that dream.
But to go back to the question, which godlike species would I pick? I think I would select the Organians because on the one hand, yes, they are very powerful. They're also very peaceful. They're not trying to mess with anybody. It's like they'd be good people to keep the people from fighting with each other. So
yeah,
I guess that was
John. I got a good question for you then. Where were the Organians during the Dominion War?
Maybe they were on vacation.
Yeah. They fell asleep. They weren't going to be awake till Tuesday, right?
Yeah, something like that. We never heard about them after TOS, so I don't know if they just moved somewhere else. They moved to some other plane of existence or what.
Yeah, because it's when the Klingons and the Federation were about to go to war, they complained about the pain of it all. It actually physically hurt them that people were being antagonistic towards each other. So maybe they did. Maybe they just said, "We're out."
Yeah. Oh, do you think the Federation helped the Dominion War helped the Federation, or do you think that was like a lose-lose situation for everybody?
I think that the war was probably inevitable. Um, the Federation basically went on coast mode at some point between TOS era and TNG era,
Well, they had
and so they appeared weak.
they had that golden area, because the Cardassians weren't very much of a threat. The Zinkethi weren't much of a threat. The Klingons had pretty much been neutered, and the Romulans weren't sticking their head out yet.
I think the Romulans were busy dealing with Q.
No, I think there's a bunch of internal strife in the Romulan Empire.
No, I think it was Q.
Oh, it's Q. All right.
Yeah, I think it was Q.
So, Aravic, are you talking about tonight or for a different stream? Because you want us to talk about the Zindi War.
Yeah, that's an interesting subject.
Yeah,
Um,
but man, that Zindi weapon there, that had some bad targeting when most of it went over the ocean. Granted, 7 million people died, but it went right over the ocean. Like they would start from. It would have been a lot more effective if the weapon was started at New York and cut its way down the eastern seaboard.
The problem with that is not that it went over the ocean, was that they said that Tripp's family was killed, but Tripp's family is from Pensacola, which is in the Panhandle, and the weapon didn't hit the Panhandle.
Oh, but I was saying that they started at the bottom of like the United States there, versus if they would started the weapon at New York and they went down the eastern seaboard, that would have been a lot more devastating.
I might disagree with you there because you boil off all that ocean water. That's going to have long-term effects on the
But did
climate.
that water leave the? Did that water really leave the planet though? Because if it stayed on the planet, then it just fall back down the Earth and eventually end up right back in the ocean.
Not necessarily. I think it might have just been boiled away.
And Eric says, "Poor Florida, that just cuts deep."
Hey, have you guys ever done the Florida Man Challenge?
Yeah, we've looked up our birth dates on the Florida.
Yeah.
I've heard of it, but I don't think I ever did it.
Oh, you never did that, John?
I don't think so. Because I live
It's pretty hilarious. Mine is Florida man rescued by the Coast Guard trying to get to the Bahamas in inflatable hamster ball. Okay.
Mine says Florida man abandoned child on roadside because he thought boy might be gay.
Okay.
Oh, Florida man blames wind for stash found in his car.
Be right back.
Okay. Destroy, Mercer, destroy.
Let's see. Florida man who fell in water after drinking sprayed fire extinguisher on himself to dry off. Have you ever had a fire extinguisher unloaded on you? I gotta tell you, that stuff in your there tastes like crap. Yeah, because one of my friends unloaded a fire extinguisher on me, and then that sucked. But
Wow. Yeah.
I got nice friends, don't I?
So Aravic, yeah, you basically put in Florida man and your birthday, the month and the day in Google, and read whatever the headline is, or post, or better yet, post it online in like a chat group or something, and get a bunch of other people to do it as well.
All right, I gotta say, I've hit a couple milestones with the stream. First one is this is the longest stream I've done so far. The second one, this is the longest I've gone on a stream without swearing.
Nice.
And the third one is this is the longest stream I've had. This is the longest I've gone without having to apologize to our YouTube overlords.
That's a good. All right, you're getting to be a professional.
I'm getting somewhere, I guess.
I guess.
I think it's John. John's a good influence.
Yeah, John, you're a good influence. That's it.
No, thank you.
So
apparently, my headline is Florida man threatens to kill neighbors with kindness, but where kindness is the name of his machete.
Wow.
Let's see. Another one for mine is Florida man spent weeks in jail for heroin that was actually detergent. Florida man with drugs around his family jewels denies they were his.
Yeah.
Let's see. This one's for December 6th, but it says Florida man reportedly breaks into garage, drinks wine cooler, and takes torch. No, that one's not as funny. That's normal.
Florida
what's
man
your Florida
arrested
man
for having
story?
sex with stuffed Olaf at Target. That's one of mine.
What was the question?
What's your Florida man story?
I don't know what that means.
Type your birth date, like the month and the day, Florida man, into Google and see what the headlines are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Type my birthday and then what?
Florida man.
Yeah.
By the way, I should probably tell you guys that my nickname, Mercer Create, has nothing to do with the Orville.
Oh.
Okay.
We thought Mercer, you're praising
Like
Captain Florida.
Mercer, yeah.
Oh, I love Captain Mercer, but I came up with the nickname based on a novel that I wrote rather than the character in the Orville.
And Airvic's Florida man story is Florida man steals all the chicken wings at 7-Eleven. Well, that doesn't seem too crazy.
That's not too
Mine
crazy.
is Florida man tries to pay for McDonald's with weed. That's good. Now I wrote this like really cheesy sci-fi novel, that novella, where the main character, his name is Mercer, and this is before Orville came out, and it's like a 50s sci-fi UFOs kind of story with 50s kind of zombies, kind of like what you'd picture black and white crap cheesy B movies to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of story that it is. It really doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's on Amazon.
Nice. What's the name of
It's like a Far Side comic. Basically, I wrote out a long Far Side panel.
Nice.
Okay, and according to Thomas, before the pandemic, a local radio station did daily Florida stories that were up to 200-day straight shows with funny Florida stories.
Yeah.
But I wonder if you could do that with like any state. Like,
I don't know, because Florida is just, you got to be kind of crazy to live in Florida, John, with all the alligators, John.
I agree.
And the crocodiles, John. And the pterodactyls, John. And the dinosaurs. And like I said, I was in Orlando for basic training, and man, it you go down Route 95 on a morning in Florida, and it'd be like it looked prehistoric. You expected to see dinosaurs popping out of the jungle on days like that, where the steam is rising off the off the trees and stuff, and it's like all this just strange like palms and things like that, and it's just weird. Freaks you out a little bit.
Yeah, we get that in the morning, especially when go along the river there. You get all that morning mist and right along the riverbeds.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that now too. I'm actually disappointed that I don't see. I'm too close. I'm too close to all these light polluting sources. I can't see the stars very well at night. I'm really disappointed in that.
Well, that's what you get for living in the city.
Well, I don't actually live inside the city itself. I live in the suburbs.
Yeah.
But even so, yeah.
Well, I can see the stars here, but I'm in a town of 1,700, so.
Yeah.
And Thomas says recently they mentioned a drunk woman being chased by cops at an airport. She was riding a motorized suitcase.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the stuff that people come up with. I'm wondering if half these stories are people just do it just so that they can get their 15 minutes of fame.
That might be true.
Half it's probably drugs, half it's 15 minutes of fame. Yeah, and Eric needs to find an astronomy club here too. I don't know.
I actually know a professor of astronomy here at the local university. I met him through the debunking flat Earth community.
Oh, have you seen some of those flat Earth videos? Some of them are pretty funny.
Yeah, they are. They're pretty wild. These guys come out with some pretty oddball logic.
Yeah.
No offense to Darren. Darren's I think Darren's a pretty decent guy. But yeah, so we were waiting for a live stream to start, and he happened to mention something about being in the area, and I'm like, wait, you live where exactly? He's like, oh yeah, I live here. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm here too. So met him a few times, played frisbee, went to breakfast, had some fun. Got to try to hook up with him again because he's a really decent guy. And he's got a little YouTube channel where he actually does. Well, first of all, he streams his lectures from his Astronomy 101 course. But then he also talks about random stuff on his YouTube channel. It's Rob Parks, Parks.
You want to put that in the chat there, Indy?
Yeah, let me do that.
Did I make you a moderator?
You did actually make me a moderator. Hang on a second. Okay. I'm gonna go. I'll go find his. I'll go find one of his videos real quick.
Yeah, because I made you a moderator there so you could plug your channel and all that.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So there we go.
I'm actually surprised I didn't get any bots today. Yesterday I was playing Whack-A-Bot like crazy.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, it's like every 2 minutes a bot would pop up. You know, I was like, I don't think I've had a bot since my very first stream. I only had one on my very first stream, but then they were like popping up like every 2 minutes.
Cool.
I was like, where's Kronos when you need him? Because he loves playing Whack-A-Bot. Because he likes to play Whack-A-Bot on Captain Trek's stream. And that, you know, it's almost like they want to see. I think some of the moderators just love it. They want to see who can get the most bots.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find a decent one. He's got a couple of shorts where he just tells dad jokes. It's like they're bad. They are bad.
Yeah.
This is actually one. Yeah, let me share this one because I was actually on his live stream with him when one of the biggest flat earthers came along and decided to talk to the two of us. It was kind of an interesting conversation. You don't have to watch the entire thing because it's like more than 5 hours long. But
I don't know if I could sit through a stream that long.
I certainly wouldn't.
Yeah, I will say, Ervik, he is pretty good at Whack-A-Bot.
Yeah.
Yeah. John, you got a video premiering on Monday?
Yes. The next one I have planned is based on the theme. He's Dead, Jim.
Oh, he's dead, Jim?
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good theme.
I got to figure out how to edit videos there because I want to edit a video there, but I gotta edit the video where Wesley's getting phasered.
Okay, so I just put that video in the stream in the YouTube chat. So if you guys want to go check out Rob's channel and maybe give him some support. And like I say, he talks about, we got
a bot. We got a bot. They're trying to use your name there, Norm.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh crap. Holy crap. So he talks about some pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And so yeah, help the guy out. He's small like you and me, but hopefully, we can help his channel grow.
Yeah. Hey John, what's your one video up to for counts? I know you had that big one you had.
The big one, the last I checked, it was about 130,000.
Yeah. Nice.
That's great, John. That's incredible.
Yeah, I was sure that the guys at work all thought that was kind of humorous because it's like, 200 views, 50, or like 79, 50, 130,000, then it's back down to like 50, 200, then like 130. But all of a sudden you just got like one big one. YouTube must have promoted that, or people were looking for the warp speed effects.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't know. Yeah. What do you think made that stand out, John?
Well, one thing that helped with getting that many views is because apparently the video was posted on some websites like Nerdist. So I think that's where a lot of the traffic came from.
Oh, yeah. So someone kind of showed your video off on their site.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my Impulse and FTL drive is now up to 163 views, which I'm really pleased with. It's been getting a lot of traction lately. So thank you all for looking at my videos and stuff. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
I like them.
I'm pretty sure I've watched all yours there. I've watched most of John's. There might have been one or two of John's I missed. You missed there. They might not popped up on my subscriptions because YouTube likes to do this thing where they'll show me like all my subscriptions there. But I've been trying to hide the ones I've watched because they like to reset them to say I didn't watch them, But then the videos will, after I've hidden them, after like a couple days, all of a sudden, like I'll go from like say if I'm 2 days behind on like some of my videos there, it'll pop and then it goes down there. Then all of a sudden be like 3 weeks. And all of a sudden it's like half these videos I know I've already watched, but they reset them and said I didn't watch them and they unhit them,
Yep.
and that can get kind of annoying. But
Yeah.
I'll go back through and see if look for that one we were talking about earlier.
Cool.
I just learned that Sonequa Martin Green from Discovery is a producer on the show as well. She's one of 20,000 producers.
Is she the what show?
Discovery.
Oh, is she Burnham?
Yeah.
Oh,
She's now a producer on the show too.
oh, so Burnham's such a godlike figure that she now went back in time to produce the show about herself.
Yeah.
I'll have to remember to tell that one to Salty.
Yeah.
Or-
Thanks, Aravic, for subscribing to Rob's channel. So yeah. Anyway, guys, I've been sitting.
Are you guys going to go aboard the Starship, the Galactic Starship?
Say again?
Are you guys going to go aboard the Galactic Starship, Star Cruiser?
You mean that Star Wars hotel?
Yes.
No.
No.
Even if I had
Why not?
$5,000 to
It's going to
burn,
be
it's
exciting.
not worth it.
Yeah. It kind of isn't. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's like they've
I thought it was-
got the Star Trek cruises too. I think it's
Yeah, but those are not
Princess-
simulating a ship,
Yeah.
you know?
All right. Oh, I think I'll end it there. I'm getting kind of hungry. I didn't have a chance to eat yet. Indy, you look like you're exhausted.
I am kind of. I'm sorry. I'm pretty low energy, and I've been working late nights,
Yep.
and trying to get caught up on Dominion War stuff after working 13 or 14 hours a day.
Oh.
So sorry
Yeah.
about that, dude.
Oh no, that's fine. The conversation, just because I said it's gonna be the Dominion War, doesn't mean we can't stray off topic. I'm not gonna be a stickler like some of these guys.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you guys want to plug your channels then? Arabic, I'm not sure if you have a channel. Now, not Thomas there. I believe he has a channel too. He does Minecraft. I know that. But
Yeah.
John, you want to plug yours?
Oh, sure. Thank you. I'll go ahead and put a link in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got nothing new to share this time around. But next time I probably will, because I've got a new video that hopefully I'll get it done this weekend. But more likely it'll be next weekend.
Okay. Mercer, do you have a channel?
I do not.
You do not? Okay.
So Mercer Destroy, is that just temporary because you destroyed everybody? I just want to ask real quick before we leave.
I sometimes like to put variations. I actually had that saved on their servers before the game, so no, it was not any implication about the game. Coincidence.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. No, I just they had the buzzer, so I just buzzed in whenever I could. Whenever I knew an answer, I just buzzed in. That was really the only reason.
Yeah.
Because then I have to wait for 3 people or 2 or 3 people to go ahead of me, and I'm never going to have a chance. Because if the first guy doesn't know it, the second guy most probably will know it.
Yeah. And hey there, football. Sorry, we're just about to end the stream. Sorry.
Talk to you guys later, my friends.
But I will.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, but so
See ya,
we're gonna
Marshall.
end it there. We got thank you, the great beard of John, for joining us. You're a resident fact checker. Thank
My
you, Mercer,
pleasure.
for joining us there. And we got the exhausted Indy, who is always fun to talk to there. And
Yeah,
then we
thanks
got
for
your
having-
resident gorilla.
Yeah.
Which-
Thanks for having me on.
Which I
Gorilla.
won't be streaming tomorrow there, but I will be streaming Sunday, and that's gonna be a rant, and I'll probably be going off. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea there, but just remember to be a gorilla.
Good night.
Night.